As a relative newcomer to online gaming, I'm bombarded every day with choices. Now, I'm not an expert, but I do know what I like. So I'm on a quest to find the best MMOs available, from the very best of the best to the lowest of the lows. Which games will I keep and which will I trash? Well, come with me and find out. Uncharted Waters Online is a Japanese MMORPG which was released in Japan during spring 2005. Based on a series of games known simply as Uncharted Waters, this MMO places the player in the Age of Exploration, a period where the world had yet to be completely mapped out and was open to, well, exploration. It is not a fantasy game as one might expect. Instead, it features real nationalities and real-world places, and it even offers educational stories and quests, teaching the player a bit about history along the way. The majority of the storyline in this game is history-based, as far as I can tell. The story focuses mainly on your character's own progression, and depending on which nationality you choose, this will vary. Your choices range from Spain, Portugal, Venice, France, the Netherlands, and England. Each has a varying economic situation, depending on where each country stood at this point in history. After choosing a nationality, the player can then move on to customizing a character. The character creator is a bit limiting in this game. You are able to choose from 8 body types, each radically different from the next. You can then customize the face, hairstyle, complexion, and hair color. There is also a slot called Other, which allows the use of different accessories like an eye patch or eyeglasses. However, it also reveals quite an annoying flaw. Each body type does not have an equal amount of customization choices. The smallest female model, for example, has only 4 accessory choices out of the 10 available. For such a simple editor, this is unacceptable. At the very least, it should be made clear that there are less choices by disabling the extra buttons. On a positive note, you are allowed a choice of which color attire you'd like to wear, but this quickly becomes pointless as your first item of clothing is given to you in-game within 5 minutes of starting the tutorial. After the character customization, it was not a mystery that this game's graphics were slightly less advanced than the other free-to-play MMOs on the market at the moment. However, as the gameplay started, I was still slightly shocked at how aged the graphics were. Now, graphics are hardly ever a point of contention for me personally, and that still stands for Uncharted Waters Online. In fact, the more I played, the more the graphics grew on me. They remind me of late PlayStation titles, which led to a bit of pleasant nostalgia. If graphics are not high on your list of priorities, then this game will definitely suffice. Unfortunately, the music does not harbor those same feelings of nostalgia. After the first minute or so of the same tune playing over and over, it became clear that this song was never going to stop. It keeps going, and although I love a chirpy little tune when well done, this is repetitive and annoying. Leaving the academy in which you start, you pray that the music for the town is different, but no, it's merely a bit louder. Fortunately, there are moments of respite, such as in the tavern, where the music changes, but considering you spend over an hour in a tutorial within the town, this is not much of a saving grace. The game creators could have certainly taken a lesson from those old nostalgic PlayStation titles of days past. I will say that while the music is largely a negative point for me, the music which plays upon actually sailing your ship is extremely pleasant. It's peaceful, moody, and actually quite relaxing, and when you finally enter battle on the seas, it's actually exciting. I wish they would have put more work into the town music as they did the ocean music, because I can imagine it would have been a lot more pleasant overall. Speaking of battle, this was a large part of the reason why I was so interested in this game. Maritime adventure on the high seas. What could be more exciting? I couldn't wait to sail my first ship and actually get to the meat of the game. But first I had to complete the tutorial. The tutorial which went on and on and on and on. The tutorial for Uncharted Waters Online is by far the longest, most grueling, most boring tutorial I've ever experienced. Even not including the parts of the game where I purposely sailed off in my ship and did my own thing, the tutorial was over an hour long. In gaming, an hour is often merely a drop in the pond, but you have to take my word when I tell you this tutorial comes from the very depths of hell itself. For an hour, you are running all over the map as your instructor teaches you the most basic, blandest gameplay rules and mechanics. Now, unless you are completely new to video games that have never picked up a controller or keyboard in your life, these are not hard concepts to grasp, and I truly, sincerely wish they had left at least half of this tutorial to the game manual where they belonged. The game does not need to hold your hand for this long. I was bored almost to tears and almost considered quitting several times. The only thing which kept me going for so long was my desire for a glimpse at that big vast blue ocean. The sailing was not disappointing in the least. In Uncharted Waters, you are allowed to choose between 3 occupations: soldier, merchant, or adventurer. I chose adventurer for the very reason of adventuring. I want to explore and discover distant faraway places, but the tutorial took so long and drained me of almost all of my desire that when I finally took that step forward, I could barely justify playing anymore. This is a shame because the game has such a high potential to be fun and exciting. Even battle, as simple as it is a vastly satisfying experience. Hearing the sounds of cannon fire and the excited cheers of your crew is so much fun, despite the fact that battling in itself is extremely simple, requiring only a click to fire your cannons and change direction and speed. I really wanted to enjoy Uncharted Waters Online, and I was actually deeply disappointed that I couldn't. The beginner's tutorial is enough to turn off even the most hardened of gamers, and even after acquiring my own deed to a ship, I just couldn't bring myself to pick up the game again. Maybe in the future I might, but for now I think it's safe to say that Uncharted Waters Online will not be the first game to grace the keep folder. It's the trash for you today, sailor. Bon voyage.